Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the program today, is the media under attack? Randi Thompson has the rundown.
We'll be talking with Bob Fisher, president of the Nevada Broadcasters Association, on is there really a need to protect journalists at the federal level?
And coming up on the Power Pundit panel today, Vivian, Freeman, Marlene, Lockard, and Howard Rosenberg. It's all coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
Here at the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, water resources come from fresh, clean groundwater, approved by state permits. The water is pumped from wells to million-gallon storage tanks and then distributed to TRI companies. Another amenity is our investment in a state-of-the-art wastewater treatment plant. This disposal system converts waste to clean water for industrial applications. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
When making your decision as where to play golf, consider the resort at Red Hawk. You know you have made the right choice the moment you arrive. The friendly staff welcomes you to our award-winning pro shop. You know you've made the right decision on the first tee. The Lakes course is in the best condition in years. You know you've made the right choice after you've played 18 holes. The resort at Red Hawk, the right choice.
Nevada Newsmakers is sponsored in part by the Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and Social Security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
I've heard some good things about them.
Oh, you bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they've saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we welcome to the program a good friend, Bob Fisher, who heads up the Nevada Broadcasters Association, which is an association of all the broadcasters, radio and television in the Silver State. Welcome. You know, I've been discussing over this program, some would say I've been on a jihad about this.
Interesting choice of word.
Thank you, but
I could say a rampage.
A rampage could be too. About freedom of speech, reporters, the need for a federal shield law. As we tape this interview, which will be played in about a week from now, Judith Miller of the New York Times has been in jail for 15 days so far for a story she never wrote, i.e. she's in jail for a discussion she had that a special prosecutor wants her to divulge her confidential sources and she doesn't. First of all, let me get your response to her being in jail and Time Magazine folding and giving their reporters confidential notes to the special prosecutor.
Sam, I think that she's not the issue. And I think that it doesn't make any difference who the person is. I think what counts is that she is a journalist. This is not a good time for those of us in the media. This is a very dangerous time for those of us in television, in radio, and in journalism. We are forgetting the whole purpose of why there was the journalist. We're forgetting about accountability. Accountability to ensure that the governments that we have, whether it's local, state, or federal, are doing their job. And if we have to operate under the system where we are afraid to do the kind of reporting that needs to be done, the investigative reporting, telling the truth, digging the truth, we're going to be in big trouble.
Well, I'm glad to hear him say that this isn't about Judith Miller, because it's not. And I hope that when all the investigations are done, we do truly know what happens. Because us sitting here, we do not know what really happened. And the other side...
And do you think that we're actually going to really know what happened?
No, I don't. That's my faith in government, is that, true exposure of every truth is not out there. And that's part of my frustration with politics, but it's also just the reality that when you have people get this vigilant over a position, when we truly don't know the outcome. Matt Cooper gave up his source, supposedly Karl Rove, and the speculation is... But the speculation is, her source is the same. Why is she in jail and he's not?
Because nobody is ever going to talk to a... Do you think for 1 second that if I have a story to tell and I do not want my name revealed and I get the choice between the New York Times, whose reporters are prepared to go to jail, versus Time Magazine, who give up their sources and to let their reporters not be in jail, who am I going to tell that story to? Time Magazine, in my opinion, has lost all credibility, and I can't find any editorial that supports Time Magazine's position. And
it goes deeper than that, because if what you are saying is true, and if what you are saying is sort of true, the bottom line is first them and then us. And that's the edge that we're standing on right now. And I don't understand why everybody is keeping so quiet. What are they afraid of? Because if we are going to find ourselves in this kind of situation and not fight back, and not fight back with the power that we have, and that the power that the public has the right to know.
But they don't care.
Oh, they do.
Yes, no. Randy, you know what? You have joked with me about me going on about this over the last couple of weeks, and it's actually been several months that I've been talking about this, about the need for federal shield law, when the possibility first came up. 49 states have some form of federal shield law. Funnily enough, the only state that doesn't, I found out, is Wyoming. But it goes even deeper than this, Bob. You have television stations now that have live news events that they are now using tape delays, according to Broadcasting Magazine, because news directors and station owners around the country are terrified that somebody walking past behind a reporter with their middle finger stuck up will end up with the station being fined, even though that they have no responsibility.
And it's not only television, it's also radio. There's the great fear of we're under attack. The media is under attack. The First Amendment is under attack. And if we stay silent, then we're going to get what we deserve, and it's not good.
Okay, what do you think...
Or actually, we're going to get what we don't deserve.
What do you think of the fact that you have these giant corporations, as against individual owners for the most part, that are so intertied with government in one way or another that they are terrified of losing their licenses if they push?
But it's true of all media outlets. It's true of all companies, because everything revolves around keeping your license. And it doesn't really make any difference if it's a small radio station in rural Nevada, if it's a major company in Las Vegas, a major media outlet. We're all facing the same kinds of threats. And far too often, Sam, my colleagues are running scared.
I think we have to understand, too, the power of the media. And, I was, again, doing some research last night. There was a case of Stephen Hatliffe, who was one of the persons of interest in the anthrax case in 2001 in D.C. And the government gave media they were the source for him. His career was ruined. His professional life is over, all because he was tried by the media. And he has every right. Now, he is suing the government. He's also suing the media that carried those stories, because his life was ruined. He was innocent of these charges. The power that the media has today is why they're regulated. It's why they should be regulated. Somebody has to hold them up, because a trial by the media is not what this democracy is all about.
But the media still plays the important role of trying to uncover the wrongs. Is it a perfect system? Far from it. But it's still the best system of whatever systems are out there. And
well, just know that they do make mistakes.
Well, of course they make mistakes. They make mistakes. But as you know, government also makes mistakes.
Yes, it does.
And the public deserves to know what is going on. And when you have a corrupt local government in Rhode Island, and you have a journalist, a television journalist, doing his job, refusing to give up a source, and then what was it, 121 days he was in house arrest? It's wrong.
And he has a heart condition, too. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more with Bob Fisher from the Nevada Broadcast Association after this.
For a videotape copy of any Nevada Newsmakers program, call 775-857-2244. The tapes are $20 each, including shipping.
My family started this business 27 years ago.
We work hard to serve our customers and our community. But it's getting harder and harder to keep the doors open.
For example, our workers' comp is going through the roof. Isn't anyone on my side anymore?
The Retail Association of Nevada is. If you're a small business owner, we can cut your workers' comp by up to 50%, lobby for your interests, and keep you informed. Put us to work today.
Many of the materials we rely on every day come from the ground, and modern mining technology brings them to us cleaner and safer than ever before. To learn more about America's natural resources, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
When you need a new employee, how can you be sure who you're really hiring? A background investigation by Employer Links will uncover criminal records, verify the applicant's education, check their credit history and Social Security verification. An investigation will research professional licenses and driver's licenses and let you know why they're unemployed. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
Your best value in sight is here for you to see. From frames to lenses to eye exams, you're covered A to Z. Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
Davis Optical Centers, with 2 locations in Reno and Sparks.
Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
Back with Bob Fisher from the Nevada Broadcast Association. Randy, you just brought up a great point off camera. I want you to bring it up again and make the point.
The point is, you know, I question the integrity of journalism right now because they're covering Michael Jackson hearings and runaway brides and one girl missing in Aruba. That's not news.
And the reason they're covering this garbage, which is only affecting that family for the most part, or is celebrity gossip. Bob, you want to answer it?
There isn't the free flow of information.
And this is not going to help what's happening right now in the hearings that we're having today in Washington. Yeah.
The free flow of information is being stopped. When I was a kid, and granted it was a long time ago, if I disagreed with you and you disagreed with me, we could have a real good fight.
Yep.
And then afterwards we would compromise because there was the better good, the greater good. Today, you disagree with me, I'm un-American. Especially if I disagree with something that has to do with God. You're un-American.
Look at Bill Maher, what happened after 9/11.
Let's read you an editorial from Broadcasting and Cable magazine, a very well-respected magazine. The Washington Federal Appeals Court refused to vacate the contempt of court citations of 4 other journalists, including ABC's Pierre Thomas, for refusing to reveal their sources in a civil suit, no less. Now they'll have to start paying $500 a day in fines, protection money extorted by the courts for the privilege of safeguarding the First Amendment. We don't force attorneys to testify against their clients or psychiatrists against their parents or priests against their penitents, even if that means some heinous crimes go unpunished. It is the price we pay for protecting citizens from an overzealous government.
It's time that we start to protect those of us who are trying to dig for the truth.
Okay, the Wilson Quarterly, Terry Eastland, makes this point. Though journalists aspire to be a status of professionals, they never acquired the self-regulatory mechanisms found in law, medicine, or in the religious aspects, or even business. This point is made in the context of explaining how the media are changing before our eyes and how the definition of journalist is changing as well. Calling oneself a journalist should not be a way to avoid responsibility under the law, and report evidence of criminal activity.
Do you recall the Jason Blair affair in the New York Times? The New York Times beat itself up, and so did everybody else. The Washington Post scandals, where they had to send back the Pulitzer Prize. Yes, there were mistakes made by the media, but we should not be shutting down the media. One last thing here. Lucy Dalglish of the Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press predicts that without the protection of a federal shield law, civil litigants and prosecutors will find that the fastest way to make their cases is to go after the media, and in the federal system there will be nothing to stop them, and there will be subpoena after subpoena after subpoena. Frankly, Bob, this terrifies me.
Well, as it should. And it should. The problem is it should terrify all of the people who are involved in broadcasting and in journalism. And it's not.
Well, it should terrify the people that are watching, because are they getting the truth?
Well, and that's the point. And what we need is the help of our viewers to write your congressional delegation and tell them that we want to have a federal shield law to protect journalists in this country. Otherwise, I have no idea where we're going. Bob, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate the spirited discussion.
Thank you.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
For more than a decade, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has been helping the community embrace conservation as a way of life. That includes replacing more than 50 million square feet of grass with water-smart landscaping. During the worst drought on record, watering restrictions and tough landscaping codes have reduced the community's water use by billions of gallons, even as thousands of new residents were moving into Nevada. That's smart water management, and that's our promise to Nevada.
When making your decision as where to play golf, consider the resort at Red Hawk. You know you have made the right choice the moment you arrive. The friendly staff welcomes you to our award-winning pro shop. You know you've made the right decision on the first tee. The Lakes course is in the best condition in years. You know you've made the right choice after you've played 18 holes. The resort at Red Hawk, the right choice.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
You bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they've saved others 50%.
Works for me.
Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and Social Security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
Back on Nevada Newsmakers, joined by our Power Pundit panel today. Marlene Lockard is here with Capital Strategies and trying to destroy our set, apparently.
Yeah.
Howard Rosenberg is here, University Regent, and Vivian Freeman, former Assemblywoman. Welcome to all of you. So I always like to disclaim on this program that Jim Rogers, who's the University Chancellor, is also the owner of KBBC,
We're just a little runner across the TV on that.
You know, it doesn't matter what your conflicts are as long as you put them out on the
That's
table and
very
everybody
true.
understands.
That's very true.
So, Howard, have you been getting phone calls from Robert Eidhoven, Jim Given's Chief of Staff, concerning the remarks that...
No,
Jim
I
Rogers
have
made?
not received a call from that gentleman. I have received several calls from other people.
And what are they saying?
They're not happy
with
Chancellor Rogers' comments. I think that he might... Well, when they asked me what I thought, I said... It shows that Chancellor Rogers went to the Dale Carnegie School of How to Make Friends and Influence People and flunked. It happens.
Do you think he's out of line in what he's doing, as in his role?
Yes,
okay.
I do. The only way that I can explain it is, I've been around for 40-some-odd years. On television for 25 of those years. I've always been able to say anything I want, whenever I want, wherever I want, and it's never doubled back on anybody but me. And that's okay, that's fine. When you're in a position like Chancellor, it now doubles back on the system. And people have long memories, and you can't afford to do that kind of thing.
But aren't you in the same position as a public official, that when you make comments, you reflect the system as well?
There's one difference I've been a public person for so long, people will allow me a little bit of leeway that they might not allow anyone else. At least they've always allowed it before.
Okay. What I find amazing is how the Gibbons camp is handling this whole issue. Instead of just letting it go away, they've created a whole nother news cycle. It reminds me of the congressman who was called the stupidest congressman in Washington, and what did he do? He held a press conference to deny, I am not the stupidest congressman in Washington.
But Marlene, you know,
so here he is.
The story is not going away. I mean, the governor started this during the session, and twice on this program called for anybody but Gibbons, and Bruce James earlier this week was saying that his wife was contacted by Dee McGuinn at a dinner at the White House about the fact that she'd make a great first lady. I mean, this story isn't going away. And don't you think that it was smart of Robert Eidhoven to say that, you know, the congressman will be willing to talk to any regents that had concerns about his education policies?
Yes, but also in that article, wasn't it very interesting that he wouldn't reveal his thoughts on education to the reporter? It's very nice that they'll have a private conversation with our regents, but he is running for governor of the state.
Well, he's not
and you would
declared
think that he would be prepared. Well, that's a whole nother game they're playing for reasons none of us can figure out. I'm running but not running. Like I say, I think they're handling it just fine.
And you're helping, of course, Senator Titus in her campaign. Vivian, you want to weigh in on this?
Well, I would agree with that. I don't know Mr. Rogers, never met him. It was a foolish thing to say. If he's going to run for governor, then he needs to declare and let all of us know what his intentions are. If there are problems between he and Mr. Gibbons, I have no idea. And I'm a Democrat. I'm really happy to see all this dissension among the Republicans. Really pleases me.
Well, I go back to the same thing, which I think is the more you say the name Jim Gibbons, the more you give him free publicity.
Exactly.
And in the long run, I don't think this is going to stick.
But it's not good publicity.
Well,
no, and there seems to be a universal growing movement of why do so many people in important positions absolutely dread and fear that this man might be in a position of leadership?
We just taped an interview with Larry tomorrow with Senator Ensign, and he didn't seem to have any fear of Congressman Gibbons.
Well, he's never in the state.
But there's only Jim Rogers and the governor. Because you have to look at the governor's reasoning too. He's mad at Jim Gibbons because of the whole tax restraint initiative and the tax cap and the battle from last session.
Well, Randy, you understand this is all inside baseball within the political circles. But you know what you know, Randy.
And I know what I know, and you know what you know, and no one knows what anybody else knows.
Well,
this program just descended into the Pink Panther. Okay.
Well, no, this leads to
Excuse me, ascended from politics.
Yes.
I'm curious as what people should know. John Roberts the administration just released thousands of documents on the Supreme Court justice. What they didn't release was his tax returns. Why is that pertinent to a Supreme Court candidate? Why do the Democrats want his tax returns? I mean, what does that matter?
Well, as a Democrat, I think the Democrats need to play this very, very carefully. I agree, the president won the election. He's nominated someone who's highly qualified. I think they should ask tough questions, but then I think they should get on with the vote, up or down. If the Democrats mess this one up, their plummeting numbers in Congress will continue to go down. They need to pick their battles carefully. And when a Democrat is president, he's going to want to nominate his nominee for the High Court.
Well, I agree with Marlene, and Harry Reid has said we need to do this carefully and not be in a big rush. There's no big rush.
The question is, will he be on the bench by October 3rd?
I believe he will.
I believe he will, too.
I do, too.
It seems to be going that direction.
I think the president appears at this point to have picked a wise choice, although Planned Parenthood may not agree because they're doing a lot of fundraising.
I share those concerns.
Okay. I want to go back to the Chancellor because in today's Review Journal, there's a copyright story here, and I don't have a reporter's name on it, unfortunately, but the Chancellor at this point says he wants his counterpart in K-12 education to earn $500,000 a year or more, and he's willing to pitch in for a nationwide search to find Clark County's next superstar superintendent. You know, Rogers says he plans to raise funds to subsidize the superintendent's salary to upwards of $600,000.
There is this thing that Mr. Rogers has that is, I guess, common in corporate circles. The more you pay, the better you get. That's bull.
Thank you.
You know what that is. Forget it. I keep hearing the market dictates.
It's an enormous job.
Very definitely.
That's what it takes.
Very definitely an enormous job. But the amount of money you pay doesn't mean that you're going to get anybody that can do the enormous job any better.
That depends on who's doing the hiring.
Well, that's true. Hiring is one of the most god-awful things that I face as a member of the Board of Regents. I hate search committees more than anything else in the world.
By the way,
because you just don't
we're talking
know.
about K through 12, not the university system.
Right. It's kind of taking the toes in somebody else's tent.
Yeah, but wait a minute. One of the things I think that's wrong with education is we tend to do that. K through 12 is over here, higher education is over here. No, they're one long continuum.
We agree
that the kids
with you.
ought to be able to get off whenever they want and get on whenever they want. So that whoever comes in as superintendent of schools has to be able to work with higher education, and we need to be able to work with that person and the group.
Okay, last 20 seconds, Marlene.
Well, I think if you do a national search, you're not going to find any K through 12 superintendent making that kind of money. So I think you'd find a lot of people available for slightly less than that.
And then we can take that extra money and help some of the homeless kids that we've got in schools that need the help desperately. I wish you'd think about that.
That's where we got to leave it. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
High-tech companies demand perfect world amenities. They require clean, reliable power, state-of-the-art fiber optic communications, and clean water sources. In a perfect world, companies would have immediate access to rail and interstate freeways. There would be 4-lane expressways that shorten shipping times and provide convenient commute routes for valued employees. Well, the future is now, and it's here. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
South Reno's hotspot for food, fun, and friends is the Tamarack Junction. Play over 480 of the hottest slots and video poker games. Enjoy hot times and sizzling food specials at Sully's Sports Bar, Grill, and Nightclub. Watch your favorite game on one of our jumbo high-definition plasma TVs. Enjoy great food 24 hours a day in the Dining Car Restaurant. Or sample the best hot and cold sandwiches in the Whistle Stop Deli. The Tamarack Junction is your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway. Yeah.
My family started this business 27 years ago.
We work hard to serve our customers and our community. But it's getting harder and harder to keep the doors open.
For example, our workers' comp is going through the roof. Isn't anyone on my side anymore?
The Retail Association of Nevada is. If you're a small business owner, we can cut your workers' comp by up to 50%, lobby for your interests, and keep you informed. Put us to work today.
Don't forget, you can now watch Nevada Newsmakers online at nevadanewsmakers.com.
Yep, coming up tomorrow, we have Senator John Ensign.
We'll see you tomorrow.